This is about being social and positive about being social when you're a young teen. And I found this question. I put the question in the description because it's a little too long for me to read. But basically, this comes from somebody who it sounds like they describe themselves. They talk about kids their age. I'm assuming they're either middle school or high school, and they feel like they can't make any friends because they're not interested in the same things that other people are into, or they're not really a deep thinker, or other people aren't a deep thinker like they are. Tongue tied today. So, what I would first express to you is that what you're feeling right now is not a typical thing that a lot of people go through. You'd probably ask, is it normal? Well, I don't know if normal's the right word, but it's natural, because I think that a lot of people end up um, reaching a point in their life where they're just interested in less trivial things. You just happen to be experiencing this at a much sooner age. I did as well. Um, However, there's a bit of balance that I used with this, in order to, I guess, for lack of a better word, survive socially. Now, you don't sound like you're in any danger, but I guess I use the word survive in a term of being able to get by socially, not be so alone and not be so outcasted, which I know can be tough as an introvert, and even tougher when you don't identify with the people around you. You say you don't like Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite either. A lot of people don't like Fortnite, but I know, a lot of young kids are into that. So let's go first things first. You probably want like friends around you, real life friends, and they're not interested in anything that you're really interested in. I mean, you didn't really mention much of your interests. You just say you want to talk about deeper topics, which I totally get. I was fortunate enough that when I hit high school, like my friends were all having this like coming of age, and they all wanted to talk about deep topics. And now that I've kind of reached my adult years, a lot of people don't like having those conversations anymore. So I don't know how old you are, but I think once you get into like later high school, you might run into that. But I'm digressing. So the big thing that I did personally when I was kind of in your situation is I tried to find um, certain activities that I was sort of interested in, that I was like, I could probably get into this, especially if it means I get to be social with other people. And I did those things. Video games were one. I did martial arts for a while. And that sparked an interest that I didn't really think was there. That might be something else. I mean, I played sports in school a little bit, not for very long. I did basketball for a while, and I don't. It's okay, but I think the big reason that I did it was just to kind of have friends around, and it's going to be up to you to draw the line where you want to make those kind of sacrifices. But if and again, I'm having a tough time with this, with the fact that I can't cater it to what your exact interests are. But you should probably sit down and make a list of your interests and things that you want to do, things that you're interested in. And if they at all fall into any sort of like school club or group or any sort of thing that people are into, I would say go with it, because it's like you want to have friends, right? And I know a lot of people might be like, well, be yourself and just go your own way. And yeah, that's decent advice, but when you're in something like high school or middle school or younger, the harder it gets. You're not an adult yet. When you're an adult, you can do your own thing a little bit more. But when you're in an institutionalized environment like a school, you kind of have to play ball and go with the flow a little bit. So that would be my suggestion to you. Now, outside of this is something I can talk about a little more freely. Um, I grew up in an age where the internet was not as accessible, and I was fortunate that right when I was starting to feel like you did, I had decent access to the internet, and I had access to like chat rooms and message boards, and I was able to talk with people about interests that I had. Um, I would suggest the same for you. If there is something you're really interested in, that you really want to discuss and talk about, that you don't know anyone else around you that's into that sort of stuff, I got good news for you. I mean, you just posted on Reddit, right? There's 1,000,000,000, I don't know how many, but a lot of tens of thousands of subreddits. And I guarantee you'll find something where you can find some sort of community that you feel like you belong to about a given topic, hobby, subject, whatever you want to talk about. It's a lot easier now than it was when I was your age, that's for sure. Um, and again, I don't know how old you are, so I feel like it could be irresponsible for me to tell you to go out and meet people because I really don't know how old you are. But if you are in, I don't know, high school, like later high school, maybe your senior year or something, where you can drive or whatever, I would suggest like if there's certain hobbies you can meet up with people on, like I've started bands off of Craigslist ads. Um, was it Meetup? Is it meetup.com where you can meet up with groups that are into a particular interest? That's really popular. I did that when I moved to a new city and made connections, made friends that way. I don't, but I'm gonna kind of stay away from that because it sounds like you're younger. But if I totally got the wrong picture, that's something you can look into too. So yeah, I I don't really want to leave this off on like, well, just make community, make friends on the internet. But when you're this young, you kind of have to like carve out your social life in a particular situation to get by because no one wants to be alone, nor should anyone be alone. We're social creatures. So if there's things that you can kind of get into, so you can make friends in school, and maybe as you get to know people, you'll realize like, hey, I'm into this stuff too, or I think about deep topics too, but I'm too afraid to say it. There are so like in school where everybody's like trying to fit in and be popular, a lot of people are too scared to talk about certain things or be into certain things. And you won't find out those things about people until you get close enough to people to where they'll be vulnerable with you. So that's all I can say. Find some interest you can be okay with in school, and for the interests that you're really passionate about, go to the internet. I guarantee you'll find people. If you have any other questions or you want to expand on something that I talked about, or that I misunderstood, I could give a better response to, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Be good to yourself.